In the small town of Freeport, Illinois, a young woman named Jennifer was preparing for what should have been the happiest day of her life. Born in 1972, she was known for her gentle nature and love of helping others. Raised in a loving family, with her mother as a nurse and her father as a factory worker, Jennifer was seen as someone who always tried to bring joy to others and believed in the goodness of people. Jennifer met her fiancé, Daniel, in 1994. He was charming, a few years older than Jennifer, with a mysterious past he rarely discussed. Attracted by his confidence and authority, Jennifer believed he was a good man with a troubled upbringing. Despite concerns from her family about Daniel's controlling nature, Jennifer defended him, believing marriage would help him leave his past behind. By 1996, Daniel proposed, and Jennifer's family, though hesitant, supported her decision. The wedding day dawned with an air of excitement and anticipation in Freeport. As the sun rose, it cast a golden hue over the picturesque town, where vibrant flowers bloomed and laughter filled the streets. Jennifer had been dreaming of this day for as long as she could remember, and now it was finally here. Jennifer woke up early, her heart racing with a mixture of joy and nerves. The smell of fresh coffee wafted through her parents' home, mingling with the faint scent of her wedding bouquet, which rested in a vase nearby. Family and friends began to arrive, each eager to lend a hand in the preparations. The atmosphere was charged with energy, as everyone was caught up in the joyous occasion. In her room, Jennifer slipped into her wedding gown, a stunning creation of lace and satin that hugged her figure perfectly. The delicate embroidery sparkled in the sunlight, a reflection of the love she felt for her fiancé. As her mother helped her with the final touches, Jennifer's excitement bubbled over. They shared a few quiet moments, reminiscing about past family gatherings and the journey that had led Jennifer to this day. It was a bittersweet moment filled with pride and love. Outside, the garden where the ceremony would take place was adorned with white chairs and beautiful floral arrangements. Her fiancé, Daniel, arrived early to make sure everything was perfect. He was visibly nervous, pacing slightly and checking the sound system, while his groomsmen laughed and teased him to lighten the mood. Their playful banter helped him ease his nerves, reminding him of the love and commitment he was about to make. As guests began to arrive, they were greeted with soft music played by a string quartet. Friends and family filled the seats, exchanging smiles and stories as they waited for the ceremony to commence. The joyous atmosphere was palpable, and everyone could sense the love that surrounded the couple. As the time for the ceremony approached, the air thickened with emotion. Jennifer's best friend, Sarah, arrived, beaming with excitement and helping Jennifer with her veil. "You're going to be stunning," she said, as they shared a warm hug, both women feeling a mix of happiness and nostalgia. With a few minutes to go, Jennifer took a moment to breathe, looking at herself in the mirror. This was the moment she had dreamed about, and she wanted to soak in every second. Her heart raced as she thought about her vows and the life she was about to build with Daniel. Finally, the moment arrived. The music shifted, signaling the beginning of the ceremony. The guests stood, and Jennifer took a deep breath, ready to walk down the aisle towards her future. As the first notes of the wedding march filled the air, Jennifer stepped outside to the garden, her heart racing. The guests turned to see her, and a collective gasp of awe echoed through the crowd. The sight of her in the elegant gown, glowing with joy, brought tears to many eyes. With her father by her side, Jennifer began her walk down the aisle, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt like she was in a dream, taking in the beautiful setting, flowers cascading in shades of white and blush, the soft sunlight filtering through the trees, and the smiling faces of friends and family. Each step felt monumental, leading her closer to Daniel. As she reached the altar, she saw Daniel's face light up with a mix of love and disbelief. He looked dapper in his tailored suit, his nervousness replaced by a radiant smile. They shared a moment of silent connection, feeling the world around them fade away as they focused solely on each other. The officiant welcomed the guests and began the ceremony, setting a warm and intimate tone. They spoke about love and commitment, sharing anecdotes about the couple's journey together. As they spoke, Jennifer and Daniel held hands, their fingers intertwined, reinforcing the bond they were about to formalize. Next, the officiant invited Jennifer and Daniel to share their vows. Daniel spoke first, his voice filled with sincerity as he recounted the moments that had brought them together. He spoke about his admiration for Jennifer's strength, kindness, and determination. He promised to support her dreams and be her partner through every challenge life would bring. His words were heartfelt and true, resonating with the essence of their relationship. Jennifer felt a wave of emotion as she listened to him, knowing that every word came from the depths of his heart. When it was her turn, she took a deep breath, her heart swelling with love. She recited her vows, pledging her loyalty, love, and unwavering support. She spoke of their shared dreams and the life they would build together, her voice steady despite the emotion. The ceremony included readings from their favorite poems and passages that spoke to their love and commitment. Each reading was met with nods and smiles from the guests, many of whom had witnessed the couple's journey from the beginning. The officiant invited a close friend to share a touching reflection on love and marriage, emphasizing the importance of communication and understanding in a relationship. As they exchanged rings, the atmosphere grew even more intimate. The rings symbolized their love and commitment, shimmering in the sunlight as they slipped them onto each other's fingers. The officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and the crowd erupted in applause. Finally, Daniel and Jennifer shared their first kiss as a married couple, sealing their vows with a moment of pure joy. The guests cheered, and the couple turned to face their loved ones, beaming with happiness. They were overwhelmed with emotion, feeling the love and support of everyone around them. As they walked back down the aisle, hand in hand, laughter and applause followed them. The ceremony had been a beautiful testament to their love, a celebration of two souls intertwining to begin a new chapter together. As the wedding ceremony reached its climax, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Jennifer, radiant in her white dress, walked down the aisle, her heart filled with hope for a bright future with Daniel. However, as the priest began the ceremony and Daniel recited his vows, a subtle shift occurred in his demeanor. His previously warm expression turned cold, revealing a chilling detachment that only Jennifer noticed. When the time came for her to respond to the priest's question of whether she took Daniel to be her husband, she opened her mouth to say, "I do." But just before the words could escape her lips, Daniel took a step back. In a horrifying instant, he drew a knife from his jacket and lunged at her, plunging the blade deep into her chest. The sanctuary, once filled with joy, erupted into screams of terror and disbelief. Guests rushed to help as Jennifer fell to the ground, her white dress quickly stained with blood. Mary, Jennifer's mother, was the first to reach her, frantically trying to stem the bleeding. But in those critical moments, Jennifer's life slipped away, leaving her family and friends in utter shock. The moment that should have marked a joyous union had transformed into a scene of unimaginable horror. In the immediate aftermath of the attack, chaos reigned inside the church. Guests struggled to comprehend the horror they had just witnessed, their minds grappling with the brutality of Daniel's actions. As paramedics arrived, the urgency in the air was palpable, but it was already too late. Jennifer succumbed to her injuries in her mother's arms, a victim of violence, on what was meant to be the happiest day of her life. Local law enforcement quickly mobilized, treating the case as a murder investigation. Daniel was nowhere to be found, and a manhunt began, sending shockwaves through the small town of Freeport. Friends and family were left in a state of disbelief, grappling with the loss of a beloved daughter and friend. As investigators began their work, they uncovered a complex web of Daniel's past, one that hinted at a darker side of the man Jennifer thought she knew. Daniel's upbringing in one of Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods painted a stark contrast to Jennifer's idyllic childhood. He had fallen into a life of crime at a young age, drawn into gangs and petty crime before moving on to more serious offenses. While Jennifer saw him as a reformed man, investigators soon learned that Daniel had never truly escaped his past. Interviews with Daniel's old acquaintances revealed a man with a violent reputation, known for his ability to handle dangerous situations, but also for his unpredictable nature. This part of his life had remained hidden from Jennifer. obscured by the charming facade he presented. As detectives delved deeper, they found evidence of Daniel's ongoing criminal activities in the months leading up to the wedding, exposing the reality behind the man Jennifer had been set to marry. As detectives examined the timeline leading to the wedding day, they began to believe that Jennifer's murder was not an impulsive act, but rather a premeditated decision by Daniel. His relationships with both Jennifer and Lisa created a volatile situation. Jennifer represented a commitment he felt he could not fulfill, while Lisa embodied the life of crime he found difficult to abandon. Daniel's increasing erratic behavior and feelings of entrapment emerged as significant factors in his decision to kill Jennifer. It became clear that he viewed her not as a loving partner, but as an obstacle standing in the way of the life he wanted. The culmination of his resentment and inner turmoil led to a tragic outcome that shocked everyone involved. The town of Freeport was plunged into deep mourning. Jennifer's family and friends struggled to comprehend the tragedy that had unfolded before their eyes. The image of her in her wedding dress, lying lifeless on the church floor, became a haunting memory for everyone who had attended the ceremony. The community rallied around her family, offering support and sharing in their grief. But the scars left by such of an act would take time to heal. Mary and Robert were devastated, grappling with their loss and the unshakable guilt of not being able to protect their daughter. The pain of losing their only child was compounded by the horrific manner of her death, leaving a void that would never fully heal. As they mourned, the town held vigils and memorials, honoring Jennifer's kind spirit and her commitment to helping others. As days turned into weeks, law enforcement launched a full-scale manhunt for Daniel. They scoured the area, interviewed witnesses, and set up roadblocks in hopes of capturing him. Despite the extensive efforts, Daniel remained elusive, seemingly slipping away into the shadows. The town lived in fear, grappling with the knowledge that a dangerous man was still on the loose. As investigators pursued every lead, they began to unravel the connection between Daniel and Lisa. It became clear that she was not just an ex-girlfriend, but an active participant in his life of crime. Her involvement provided a chilling layer to the investigation, as authorities realized she may have played a role in helping him evade capture. As the manhunt for Daniel continued, tension mounted in the town of Freeport. Law enforcement worked tirelessly, following every lead and conducting interviews that could potentially lead to Daniel's capture. Residents lived in fear, acutely aware that a man capable of such violence was still at large. Rumors swirled about his whereabouts, but no confirmed sightings emerged. The turning point came when a truck driver reported a sighting of Daniel at a remote gas station just outside of town. The driver described a man matching Daniel's description and mentioned seeing him with a woman who resembled Lisa. Armed with this crucial information, the police quickly mobilized, strategizing how to apprehend Daniel without putting anyone else in danger. Law enforcement traced the couple to a rundown motel on the outskirts of Freeport, where they suspected they were hiding out. The atmosphere was tense as police surrounded the motel, ready to confront the dangerous fugitive. Officers set up a perimeter and established communication with Daniel, urging him to surrender peacefully. However, Daniel, fueled by desperation and a sense of betrayal, refused to comply. As night fell, police prepared for a potentially volatile confrontation. They knew that Daniel was armed and had a history of violent behavior, so they approached the situation with extreme caution. Using a tactical team equipped with specialized training, they executed a plan to breach the motel room. The anticipation was palpable as the team moved in. Inside the motel, Daniel and Lisa were holed up, anxiety creeping into their actions. Daniel, aware of the growing pressure, became increasingly agitated. When police finally breached the door, chaos erupted. Daniel fired a shot at the officers, narrowly missing one, and in response, police returned fire. The standoff was brief yet intense, with bullets flying in both directions. In the chaos, Daniel was struck multiple times, collapsing on the floor. He succumbed to his injuries shortly after. The tragic ending to his life brought an unsettling relief to the community. While Daniel's death meant an end to the immediate threat, it also left lingering questions about the choices that led him to such a violent end. Following Daniel's death, the investigation turned its focus on Lisa. She was taken into custody at the motel without incident. Initially, Lisa appeared to be in shock, struggling to comprehend the gravity of the events that had unfolded. As detectives began to interview her, they sought to understand her involvement in both Daniel's actions and the events leading up to Jennifer's murder. In her initial statements, Lisa claimed ignorance of Daniel's plans and asserted that she had no idea he was capable of such violence. However, as investigators pressed for details, inconsistencies emerged in her story. Evidence revealed that Lisa had been with Daniel the night of Jennifer's murder and had helped him evade the police for weeks. Witnesses confirmed that she was aware of his violent tendencies and had even attempted to encourage him to go into hiding after the murder. The prosecution built a strong case against her, emphasizing her complicity in Daniel's actions. Although she did not physically harm Jennifer, her decision to assist him after the crime demonstrated a disregard for the consequences of his violence. Lisa was charged with accessory to murder and obstruction of justice. During the trial, the prosecution painted a picture of a woman who enabled a dangerous man instead of seeking help or reporting his actions. In court, Lisa showed signs of remorse, crying as she recounted her experiences with Daniel. Her defense argued that she was a victim of emotional manipulation, caught in a toxic relationship. However, the jury ultimately found her guilty on several counts, sentencing her to 10 years in prison. While the sentence was harsh, many in the community felt it was a necessary step towards justice for Jennifer and a way to send a message about the consequences of enabling violence. In the wake of the tragedy, Jennifer's family struggled to find meaning in their loss. They were determined that Jennifer's death would not be in vain. In her honor, they established the Jennifer Foundation, a nonprofit organization focused on raising awareness about domestic violence and supporting survivors. The foundation aimed to educate the community on the signs of unhealthy relationships and provide resources for those in need. Mary, Jennifer's mother, took on the role of spokesperson for the foundation. Driven by her love for her daughter and her desire to prevent similar tragedies, she began speaking at schools, community events, and local organizations. Mary's poignant messages resonated deeply with audiences as she shared Jennifer's story, emphasizing the importance of recognizing abusive behaviors and encouraging victims to seek help. The foundation organized workshops, support groups, and community outreach programs. They collaborated with local law enforcement to create a network that allowed for anonymous reporting of domestic violence incidents, ensuring that individuals had a safe space to come forward. The community responded positively, with many people stepping up to volunteer and support the initiative. Jennifer's legacy also inspired art and creativity within the community. Local artists held exhibitions in her honor, with proceeds benefiting the foundation. Her story became a rallying cry for change, urging people to speak out against violence and advocate for those who couldn't advocate for themselves. As the foundation grew, it became a symbol of hope and resilience, transforming Jennifer's tragic end into a catalyst for positive change. The tragic story of Jennifer's murder serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the complexities of love, trust, and the hidden dangers that can exist in seemingly perfect relationships. Jennifer was a bright light in her community, and her untimely death left a profound void that would never fully be filled. Yet, her legacy continues to shine through the efforts of her family and the community, who have rallied together to create a safer environment for future generations. Through the establishment of the Jennifer Foundation and the advocacy work led by her parents, awareness around domestic violence has increased significantly. The foundation has become a vital resource, providing education, support, and hope to those affected by similar issues. Jennifer's story reminds us that love should never involve fear, and the importance of listening to those who are suffering. As the community continues to heal, they carry with them the lessons learned from this tragedy. The scars of Jennifer's death will linger, but the resolve to prevent further violence has grown stronger. The ultimate message is clear. Awareness, education, and community support can create real change, ensuring that Jennifer's memory lives on in the fight against domestic violence. Jennifer's life may have been cut short, but her impact resonates deeply, inspiring others to recognize the signs of abuse and empowering them to seek help. In honoring her memory, the community vows to continue the fight against violence, transforming grief into a powerful movement for change.